just to show you that I actually can shoot. That's a 22-yard shot. And in my way of thinking, I don't need a quiver, because whenever I deer hunted in the past, 2 arrows, man. One in my hand, one in the bow. And so that, well, anyway, it's a paddle bow. And even though I haven't been practicing for a long time, I've been spending so much time building bows, if I was to have to go out into the woods and gather woods meat, like squirrels or deer or something like that, with all the bows that I have, including an old bear recurve that I used to nail a 250-pound boar a while back, I would grab for a paddle bow. I have talked so much about how intuitive they are. And that just means, to me, the same as if I had a baseball and I wanted to throw it into a bucket. You have that intuitive, I'm not woken up yet, okay, of how high to throw it, how far to throw it, and in which direction. And to me, the paddle bows are those bows. They have a good feeling. This was designed in red oak, wide limbs, thin, and so stringing time doesn't bother them. In fact, part of my breaking in process is to string them and then just leave them strung all night long, and then maybe keep them strung the next day. It's such a great design that you don't have degradation, you don't get string fallow. Actually, the permanent, very minor deflects in them is just from making them. It's differential and moisture contact in the wood. So enough of that. 66 inches long, tip to tip, give or take a quarter inch. 64 inches knock to knock, so it is a rather compact bow. And what I like about them too is that, you know, standing up or sideways, or Ishi style, is the things are just amazing. I had a competition shooter here one time, you know, the sights and everything, compound bow shooter, and he was just sitting by the side, and his comment was, "That is so weird because it doesn't even look like you're aiming." Well, I guess I am aiming. It's just totally instinctive. I don't even know what I'm looking at. The paddle bow gives me that ability to just like go out with confidence, one arrow, one shot. Care and feeding. These, of course, when I send them out, have been pulled to full draw. But just like my strings, force you to become an active participant in your bowing, because it has a slip loop and a tied-on end. I also must stress that you need to become a part of your bow, and your bow needs to become a part of you. And so break it in, so you get the feeling that like this bow is getting used to you and you're getting used to it. They can handle overdraws, 29 inches. I do that when I'm flight shooting. But, you know, long draws are like withdrawing lots of money in the bank instead of like living off of interest, is that you have a certain amount of draws at a certain amount of length, and if you take that 29-inch draw and turn it back to 27 inches, you know, conceivably this bow will last you years and years and years. Anyway, the breaking in process, you get it? You're in awe. Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful bow. And string it, and just leave it strung, you know, for a few hours. Let that bow, like, become your friend. Never string this thing to 6 or 7 inches. That's just a waste. For one thing, you have a certain amount of push with the string. By bracing it really high, you're cutting that push off. Second of all, this bow will not be your friend if you brace it way too high. That's just the way it is. 5 inches, 5 1/4 inches. Every so often, even though I greased this twice and then followed it up with beeswax, heating it up and rubbing the beeswax in, you must become a friend with your bow. Every so often, if it just looks like it's getting a little dry, heat it up somehow, not so hot that you're scorching it or it's too hot to handle, and just rub some grease. And there was a good question asked to me, what kind of grease? If you had mouse grease, it would work. Bacon fat, maybe not if you're hunting, you know, because the your quarry can smell the meat on the bow, but refined tallow or bear grease or mink oil, which you use on your boots, would be fine. Anything. I actually mix a little bit of olive oil with my tallow just so it soaks in better. That's about it. Arrows. This string is not served, so it's a little thinner than normal. It's a 12 ply reverse double strand reverse twisted string. Anyway, where do you get your arrows? I would go to eBay and go to a fellow that's a good arrow maker by the name of Trad Arrows, or Trade Arrows, T-R-A-D Arrows. And you will ask Mr. Trade Arrows to Sitka spruce, to give you Sitka spruce arrows, uncut, 30-31 inches, because the longer arrows help arrows fly. It's less critical as far as spine with longer arrows. 125 grain field tips. The fletching, you could go parabolic or shield, doesn't really matter. But you must tell Mr. Trad Arrows that you are shooting off your hand, so the beginning part of the fletching has to be really nice, even if he puts a wrap of sinew over it or just extra fletch tight and then sands it a little bit so it's smooth. Also, because this is a 12 ply string and it's not served, tell him that it's a 12 ply B50 string so it'll fit nicely on there. Otherwise, it might be a little too loose. Sitka spruce, because it's a lot tougher than Port Orford. My shafts last a long time, even if they bounce off of trees, shooting at the beach, hitting rocks. Sitka spruce is so much tougher. Full-length shafts. Fletching isn't really too critical, you know, whether it's parabolic or shield. And 125 grain field tips. I am a big supporter that you practice with what you hunt. If you're going to be deer hunting, only use 2-blade broadheads, good ones. If they're stone, you know they're 2-blade. Stone is good, as long as they're well made. Otherwise, Zwickey Eskimos. And those things are tough enough. You get a target that can handle broadheads. Practice with your broadheads so there's no surprises. That way, you can be like Survival John. And when you go out in the field, all you need is 1 or 2 arrows. You know, if you have to take like a quiver full of 12 arrows, oh, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be controversial. If you need 12 arrows to hunt deer, you shouldn't be hunting. You need to practice more. Anyway, I haven't scaled this bow yet. I haven't found my scale. But I feel that it's about 52 pounds at 28 inches. And my paddle bows, oh, they sing if it's 45 to 50 pounds. That's the sweet zone. 52 is good. Very good. Anyway, 5 to 5 1/4 inches. Don't let your ham-fisted friend just take it and see how far back he can pull it. And that is about it. I'm going to do some more target shooting and enjoy this beautiful day. And thank you for considering the one and only legendary paddle bow.